you get started, Peter.
Well, everyone, I'm glad you're able to join us today for the 4-Click Spotlight Series. Today's webcast is about DD Form 1354. And with that in mind, I'd like to introduce Michael Brown. Mike?
Hey, thank you very much, Peter, and thanks everybody for coming in today. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about the DD Form 1354, which is the transfer and acceptance of the DD real property that are extremely important to our DoD and our VA customers that are using the software, whether the owner or the contractor. Welcome, Lee. Our owners, some of you are still doing DD Form 1354s, and some of you have actually passed it on to your contractor to make that a requirement for your contractor to perform for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share my desktop. Ask that everybody kind of mutes, and if you have any questions, go ahead and save those towards the end. Prerequisite to this is we're expecting you to know that you can use E4Clicks to build an estimate. You've got projects.
Lee
has joined the conference.
Lee, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor.
So where we are right now is we've got a project that's built of multiple estimates. A couple of different ways you could do a DD Form 1354. One of the ways that our current users are doing right now is they're probably going into one or more estimates, copying one or more line items from those estimates into an estimate called a DD Form 1354, and then they're exporting out to that particular estimate. That's certainly one way of doing it. A new way that we've kind of been working on lately is to give you the ability to go to those estimates, grab the key line item in that estimate that best describes the type of work that's being done, paste them into your estimates as custom, and go ahead and tweak the unit of measure as well as the quantity based on what you're going to need to do with your 1354. And we want to say that it's extremely important that you meet with your government people and the real property team and find out exactly what they're looking for in the finished 1354, because there's no reason to put 75 line items inside of when what you could have done there is broken those down into 5 or 6 major ones with unit of measures of linear foot or square foot or quantities or whatever they wanted to do. What I thought I'd do is I'm just going to go ahead and go into a couple of estimates, and I'm just going to tag some line items, and I'm going to put them in my clipboard. There's my first one, and here's my second one here, and here is my third one, and here is my fourth one.
Ronnie?
Hey, Ron, how you doing?
Pretty good. You, Mike?
Good, Ronnie. You see okay in here yet,
Has
Ronnie?
joined the conference.
Yes, sir.
So, Ronnie, what we're doing is we've got a project started, and forget that hidden DD Form 1354. That's an example I want to show you. And Ronnie, what we talked about is on the DD Form 1354, you're either doing them now or you're going to be doing them real soon as a contractor, because most of the contracts that we've seen that are Sabre, they're starting to pass that along to the contractor, and on most of the Macs, they're starting to pass that along to the contractor as well.
Yep.
What we advise is please meet with your government and your real property team, because you want to do them the right way. You just don't want to do them. You want to do them the right way. And they've got some certain rules or some certain requirements, but what we've got is we've done some exciting updates to our 1354 that we kind of wanted to show you today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add a brand new estimate, and I'm going to do that estimate with no totaling components, okay? And I'm going to call this a DD Form 1354, and I'm just going to say selected line items, okay? So I thought, Ronnie, is I could go in and just grab a whole bunch of items and have 35 of them, put them in a 1354, and then kind of tweak the 1354. Or, and I'm going to leave this out of the totals right here, or what I can do is I can build an estimate, tag some of the line items, but maybe this time when I go to paste, what I'll do is I'll turn those into a custom. So can I paste these into the estimate as a custom now? Can't, right?
No.
So I've actually got to paste them into my estimate, which they are right now. And what I'm going to do is a Control-A and a Control-M for batch modify, and I just want to customize these line items, okay? Now, Tom brought up a really good question in the week. He said, Mike, what if I wanted to put my city cost index in here and my contractor's multiplier? Because, as you know, the line item does not include your markups or your markdowns. That was a great thing. What you might do is if you know that the net plus or minus, if the net plus was a plus 11, then I probably would go ahead and increase the value of my items by 11% if I was looking to have them be the accurate price with the city cost index and with my coefficient. If it was a -8, I'd put a -8 here so the accurate price would be there. That's a really good example of how you can customize this to do what you need. So now what I have is I've got these line items in here that identify the major portion of work that I'm going to do, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through in my head and say, you know, in this very first line item, what I've got is I've got a situation where I've got 2,500 square feet. The actual work that I'm going to do right here is based off of doing the piping and blank, blank, blank in the backfill. But what I want to do is I want to put a lump sum price in here. So I'm going to come over here, and Ronnie, I've looked at this particular estimate that I had, and I determined that my price needs to be $108.10. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that value of that line item actually all rolled up right there. So I could do it for the second line item. I can come to this parking lots, and I could say, well, this really needs to be square feet because that's what the real property document's asking me to do, and there's 2,000 square feet, and then what I want to do is come over here and just adjust this to $8.07. Make sense?
Yeah.
So I can work through my items.
You're just matching your estimate totals then?
I'm matching my estimate totals right on the previous screen. That's exactly correct because I broke it out like that.
Okay.
So to pace it up, I'll just kind of show you one that's already complete. Ronnie, do the 1354 now out of 4 clicks?
No, we don't have to do them.
Don't have to do them?
No, the
But I'll tell you what's
math we're
kinda
going to have
neat.
to do them.
We got smart about it, and if you clear your notes, you can actually put the actual facility code right in here. So that number 812926 means something to what I'm about to show you, which is the 1354. If I finish this up, it's nice and clean, it's got everything I want, I put a check mark next to it. No program is set up with this, and no program is set up yet except a couple of evaluations with the brand new 1354 that we've got. So I'm going to come out to the 1354, click OK.
Us to contact you to get that new 1354?
Yeah, please just work with support and we'll get right on that for you.
Okay.
So right here, what I want to show you that we've done is there's my item numbers, there's my facilities, because I actually, in E4 Clicks, attach my facility to my project. There's my category code, there's my description, there's my primary unit of measure, there's my quantity, here's my description over here, because I have the actual cost right now. I've got every single thing done here except for the RPU ID and the type code. Now what's neat about this, Ronnie, is we've got the instructions sitting right here for you, so they'll tell you what you need to put inside that.
Oh, yeah.
But what kind of change here is we got a little database table working that's now here and grabbing our CAT code.
Yeah.
So what we're excited about that is that's almost a finished product right now. Now, guess what? It's a spreadsheet. You add your own columns, you want to tweak something, you want to put something in here for primary. I think it's primary, isn't it, Tom? Something like that?
Yeah, permanent or something.
Permanent or
Temporary, something like that, I think.
temporary, yeah. So once you put that inside here, what do you got? You got a 1354. And that's what today's spotlight was going to focus on, because
Has joined the conference.
I didn't hear who came in. Real property is extremely important. But why do you want to take that much time to do this by hand when you can build the proper estimate, use some or none of all the line items inside one or more estimates, or use all the items in one, or combine them all in, whatever you need to do, because it's all going to change on each one of your projects on how you built that estimate. But in this case, it's pretty handy. What I did is I actually identified the major categories, identified them based off of the estimate, went in and just tweaked them a little bit. I actually changed my unit of measures and my quantities to correspond to my price, and I'm finished with the 1354. I've done absolutely zero work except put a P in a couple of columns. It's a spreadsheet. You send it to your owner, and away it goes.
Looks good.
Question any of that?
So if we need to tweak the costs or do anything, could we do that there in that spreadsheet?
You certainly can, because it's a live spreadsheet, so you can do whatever you wanted to. If you found out that this price over here shouldn't have been that, or it should be something else, you can change it. So if this should have been $309,890, bam, right there.
Gotcha.
There's a couple more things that need to be filled out. You'd have to identify, is this an acquisition? Is it a transfer? But what I want to say on that is some of that stuff isn't done by you. Some of that's actually done by the real property people, whether it's a draft or a final, what the fund source is. That's usually getting out of the contractor's responsibility. I think what they're doing is really helping identify and itemize what happened on that project and getting that real property done. You come from a great base right there, Ronnie, at Cannon. If you don't identify every single dollar that's being spent there, when BRAC comes around, they want to close you down.
Yeah.
What real property does is it makes sure that this entire amount of money right here gets put back in the value of that base. And while it might not seem like $357,000 is a lot of money, multiply that times about 20 or 30 projects in about 4 or 5 years. That starts to add up really, really quick. I'm going to close that spreadsheet, take the program again, and just to kind of recap, what I did is I just grabbed a couple of line items from multiple estimates, put them in my estimate, tweak them a little bit, took advantage of the fact that I can use Control-A and Control-M and clear out some notes, and then I put my little cat code inside here, got everything going. As Tom said, I can put my quantity in here, put my unit price for that quantity, but once it's in the spreadsheet, you can change anything you want into there. So what these meant to do is be really brief. Now, Larry, you're in. How you doing?
Okay.
Thanks as always for coming. Larry, do you ever fill out a 1354?
No.
Do you know one is?
Nope.
So tell us.
The property form.
Yeah, it is, Larry. And what's extremely important about it is number one, it might be your responsibility one day on. It definitely is your responsibility on a Sabre contract. But it must be your responsibility on a MAC or a set-aside IFB or something you bid. The reason you want to fill those out is there's what identifies the total dollar value of that particular location. And, you know, we just did one for $300,000. Why, someone might say, well, that's not a lot of money. Well, multiply that times 100, times 5 years. So the 1354 is usually a requirement of the owner. Now they've been passing on the contractors, and we just want to help you guys get it done quicker.
Mm-hmm.
So what I just before you came in is I grabbed a couple of items from some different estimates. I pasted them inside here, and I just tweaked them because they're now custom. I can change the unit of measure from what it might have been. Actually put my own unit of measure in here, and I can put a lump sum or a total unit cost. That would be my price. Those are the information that you get when you sit down with your real property people and figure out how to do things. But what's really kind of neat, Larry, is we can actually use the notes field to be our facility code. So what I like about this is I've never seen this done before. I mean, we just figured this out last week, actually. We thought we could kick it up a notch. But it's pretty handy. Finished 1354 done that quick. Larry, I know people that spend an hour on this, at least, and they do it all by hand. They type all this by hand. But I've actually finished the entire thing here. Why? Because I did that cat code, and we got a lookup table over here that automatically bring back the category name.
How long is a slideshow?
Oh, I'm not sharing. I'm sorry. Let me share. Got the spreadsheet.
There you go.
So we got this clean little document here where I didn't have to do too much work. If your estimate 50 items in it, I wouldn't want to type them all in by hand, would you? So we're going to offer this. It's actually been recorded. We're going to offer PDF to you guys, and we appreciate you guys always coming into these. Ronnie, you've done every single one, which I appreciate. Larry, I think you've been to a couple of them.
They're very informative.
Trying to be brief and trying to go over stuff, you know, that you don't have to go travel to a class or ask a question, and trying to build up a little library of these things so we've got a nice resource center for, you know, if you go to a new base, or you have a new requirement, or you have a new troop or somebody that comes in that's working with you, so they can quickly identify the fact that 4 clicks is more than just an estimate. We're trying to help you do the other things that you have to do, which can take a lot of time.
Hey, Michael.
Yes, sir.
How do we access these? You said that you were going to make them available for us?
Yeah, that's exactly how that's done, since I can share my desktop. What you do is you go to our home page, and you go to Resources and Events. What will happen is something a lot smarter than me at the end of the day is going to take this event and they're going to archive it. Okay. Right now you could still click to register because it's not set on the minute of the day, but that'll be archived tomorrow. And what you'll find with the archives, Tom, is right here on the archives page, here's the very last one we did. Right here's the one we're doing right now. Here's a PDF that you can use to download it. I've actually included the AFI 32-1084, which is the facilities requirements, and we did the UFC 1-300-08, which is another PDF, and it's all right here for you. But the other two that you guys have been to, Ronnie, are right here for you as well. There's the PDFs for you.
Yeah.
So we have them off on our events, and then our Spotlight archive page. Any other questions?
Mike, are we still looking into trying to support someday the 1391 like the gentleman requested from us earlier this month?
1391 is probably something that's going to come out of our next evolution of software, Amy. But I work with that individual, and he's not so much a contractor, Amy. What he is he's not a general contractor. He's a contractor that actually works for the government to help propose their cost for planning and project management. So we've got to kind of tweak it a little bit so maybe we can take the value of the estimates or the line items within it, and we're going to work with him on that. So the answer is yeah, we'll get pretty close to supporting a 1391, but not completely until we roll out our next generation software next year.
Okay, so you're still talking with him. He didn't not continue to get in touch with you about that.
Yeah, he's too busy to do it now, and he's going to get with me next month. But we're
Okay.
definitely going to take it. You know, that's what we do. I never knew to do a 1354, and somebody asked us to do one day, and we spent some time building a spreadsheet, figured out how we could populate it, and now, I know a lot of people use a 1354 every day. So 1391 is something we'll be working on. I don't know that we're ready for a spotlight yet, but I think we'll get that set up pretty soon. We do Army forms, we do Air Force forms, and we're always welcome to find out about Navy and Coast Guard as well, because our products are used by contractors that work on different types of contracts. Any other questions?
I'm good.
You good?
Yep.
Well, thanks as always for coming in and spending some time with us today.
I appreciate you,